What is up, everybody? I'm going to cover a quick little tip, a quick little question I get all the time. Been getting it a lot recently lately, and with, I guess, the oncoming cooler weather we got coming on, a lot of people are going to start worm fishing a little bit more, because it'll be something you can do throughout the day when cooler temperatures come here and the fish will bite longer during the day. But we're going to cover shaky head fishing, and more specifically why I do it with braid. A lot of guys are talking about how you don't really need that heavy of a line or that strong of a line to fish shaky heads, which are typically fished on finesse spinning tackle unless you're out deep throwing a heavy shaky head. But most of us in North Carolina and in the Southeast, I think, are fishing a shaky head for a more finesse presentation. So 8 to 10 pound mono or fluorocarbon is the standard. Usually somewhere between an 1/8 and a 1/4 ounce head, and a straight tail worm. If you go to Lake Norman, if you go to Mountain Island Lake, anywhere with clear water with docks, most people are throwing an 1/8 or a 3/16 ounce head with some sort of straight tail worm on it. That is the shaky head around here. The reason that I do it with braid, and specifically I use 20 pound Power Pro braid, not because of the brand, not because of anything like that. It's just it feels like it's the strongest and best performing braid I've used. I've used Suffix, I've used Bass Pro Shops brand. The Power Pro seems to hold its shape better, more durability. I don't know about strength per poundage or diameter per poundage differences. I really haven't noticed a lot of that. But the reason I fish it on my shaky head is for two things. One is basics of managing your line on a spinning reel, and that inherently is due to the line twist that spinning reels will put into your line anytime, because they're taking line down from the rod and putting it on the spool in a 90-degree twist. So when you do that while the line is spinning coming down, any line that can have memory is going to eventually have memory. And fluorocarbon is the worst for memory. While it is sensitive and it sinks and it's got hardly any visibility in water, it has the most memory. Therein gets your wind knots and your loops and things like that, and your bait spiraling around and getting those curly cues, especially in the winter. I switched to braid about 6 or 7 years ago, and I've tried a couple different brands, and I fell in love with running braid on a bait that I'm going to be fishing on the bottom with, finesse style, where I really have to tell when I'm getting light bites or bites on the fall because of its sensitivity. So those are the two reasons that I fish braid on my shaky head: sensitivity and ease of line management. I will go ahead and say I always throw a leader. Typically it's an 8 to 10 pound test fluorocarbon leader. Typically it's anywhere from 7 to 8 feet long, maybe 6. Depends on the rod length. If you have a longer rod, you can go with a longer leader, and the knot connecting the braid and the leader won't be up in the spool of the reel. If you're using a 7-foot rod for shaky heading or whatever you're doing with this, you can have a little bit longer leader, and you won't have to worry about that knot where the junction is between the leader and the braid getting in your spool. You don't want that to happen, because it can snag on your outcast and jerk the lure back, and it's just a headache. Try to keep that knot out of your spool and up the rod shank a little bit when you're making your cast. So if you have a 7-foot rod, you can get easily away with a 6.5-foot, 7-foot leader, because your bait's usually not going to be all the way at the tip of the rod when you're making your cast. Usually it's hanging 6 to 8 inches. I feel like I can feel the bites better. I don't think I lose anything with the 20 pound braid that I use on the fall, which is where a lot of your baits or a lot of your bites happen. And I feel like I get better hookups. You can feel the fish moving around, and the pressure that I put on the fish at the rod is the pressure that the fish feels, minus the little bit of stretch with the leader. But when you set the hook with braid, you're putting more pressure on the fish controlled by your hook set as opposed to the stretch of the line. So while I know I don't need 20 pounds worth of strength to catch these 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 pound fish, that's the diameter that I like to fish based on how it fills the spool up on my reel, which is usually a 2500 size reel, or in a Pfluger's case, like a 30 to 35, maybe even a 40. Most of the time it's a 30 or 35. 35 is about right. And in the Shimano Daiwa kind of series, it's a 2500 reel. Plus that 20 pound diameter, or I'm sorry, the 20 pound braid, its diameter is usually about 10 pound line, because the box on the braid will tell you that a 20 pound braid is like 6 or 8 pound diameter. That's fine right out of the box, but as soon as you start getting it wet and it swells a little bit after it's been in the elements, it's going to be about half the poundage of the braid in diameter. So 20, 10 pound diameter of mono or fluoro, 30, 15, same kind of deal. I just like it for the sensitivity, for the line management, for how it hooks the fish. If you haven't tried it, try it once. If you don't like it, you can go right back to fishing straight fluoro or straight monofilament. But I feel like it's worth it, and the line stays managed longer. You don't have to change your line as much. And if you're fishing all seasons, if you're fishing from January to December, you don't have to worry about managing your line through the colder months and through the really, really hot months, because that's what affects your line the most, especially with fluorocarbon, is the elements, the heat, the cold, and the sunlight as well. So that's a quick little tip I was going to give you of why I fish braid with a fluorocarbon leader. I usually use either P-line or a Berkeley, Vanish, or Bass Pro Shops XPS fluorocarbon. Find one you like and go to the diameter you like and step up 2 pounds, because it's going to sink. It's damn near invisible, so you're not going to have to worry about stepping up 2 pounds and losing really anything, but gaining a little bit of sensitivity and a little bit of security with knowing when you pop that fish, if he kind of runs you through a dock piling or through a brush pile, you got a better chance of pulling it out. So with shaky heading, with anything you do on the bottom, with finesse jigging, with a spinning rod in particular, next time think about buying a spool of braid, giving it a shot, see if you like it. If you do, great. Talk about it going further, try some different brands if you need to. If you don't like it, only thing you've lost is 15 bucks and an experience that'll help you figure out what you like better. So you learn either way, you get better either way. But just a quick tip, I've been getting some questions about braid on a spinning reel, how it differs from mono and fluorocarbon. You know, mono and fluorocarbon are going to hold that memory with the twist, and they're not going to be as durable. But the braid, while it's more expensive, while it's heavier, while it's different feeling, if you'll give it a shot, I think you'll like it on your shaky heads and your bottom bouncing finesse baits. I think you really will enjoy it, and you'll feel a difference in the sensitivity of the bottom and the bites. So thanks for watching. I hope this helped you guys. Don't worry about it, just go out and try it. If you don't like it, you ain't got to do it no more. I've tried it 7 years ago, I think, and I've stuck with it the whole time. So just a little tip for the evening. I'm gonna go in here and get ready for bed. Appreciate you guys watching the channel, and I'll talk to you later.